You know, I was thinking the other day, growing up, my TV was like a treasure chest. I'd flop myself down on the couch, grab whatever snacks I could find in the kitchen, and start flipping through channels. Back then, cable wasn't packed wall to wall with reality shows and reruns. You never knew what was going to pop up next. Sometimes it was a blockbuster, sometimes it was a strange movie you'd never seen. One afternoon, I loaded up this movie about a Miami cop who got caught in a nuclear explosion and wakes up with superpowers. Bullets bounced off him. He could fly. He could move things with his mind. And somehow, through all of that, the movie was still interested in making me laugh and trying to convince me it made sense. That movie was Super Fuzz. Now, here's the funny thing. Every time I mention it to people, they stare at me like I dreamed the whole thing up. Wait, the one with Terence Hill? Ernest Borgnine yelling at everybody? The superhero comedy before superhero comedies were even a thing? Yep, that's the one. It wasn't polished. It wasn't trying to change cinema. It was just 90 minutes of goofy fun that somehow became one of those movies burned into your memory from the years of channel surfing. So tonight, Sinister Cinema and I are going back to Miami to find out if Super Fuzz is still the hidden gem I remember, or if it's just another case of nostalgia doing all the heavy lifting. So grab your favorite snack, settle into a couch, and let's find out. Am I the only person that remembers Super Fuzz? This is what we saw on Stolen Cable. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what we saw on Stolen Cable. Am I the only person that remembers Super Fuzz? I am Uncle Patches. I'm here with
Sinister Cinema.
All right. This is it. This is what we're about here. This is Lost Cable Dynasty right here.
Absolutely.
You're like the first person I've ever talked to that remembers this film.
Really? Yeah. You know what? I guess I could say the same. I didn't think anybody else knew this movie. I kind of gave up asking people about it, and you get in this kind of mindset. It's like gaslighting. You don't wonder. You're like, do I actually remember that movie? Was that movie actually real, or did I just imagine the whole thing? Because nobody else remembers it.
Yeah, this is the cornucopia on the Fruit of the Loons. Let's put this in perspective. I tried to explain this movie to my brother, which I know for a fact we sat down and watched this thing 80,000 times, and he had absolutely no memory of this film.
I know for sure I watched it with my older brother at least a couple times. But I kind of doubt he remembers it as well.
This is an Italian film. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was done by an Italian director, and it stars Terence Hill. And Terence Hill was most popular for Italian movies back in the day. A lot of the spaghetti westerns.
Yes.
And, of course, if you don't know, a spaghetti western is a western that was filmed in Italy and then brought to the United States. The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, A Fistful of Dollars, a few dollars more. The Clint Eastwood classics, Fistful of Dynamite.
They were typically done with very low budget. A lot of them were kind of grueling film schedules. Clint Eastwood was able to get a pretty good career out of it, and I think he might be one of the few that actually did.
I mean, this whole genre was so popular. Quentin Tarantino spoofed it in what was that? Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yes.
Because Leonardo DiCaprio's character just can't seem to get work here in the United States after a little bit. And he gets talked into doing a spaghetti western. He goes over to Italy, finds a wife, and comes back here to the United States. That's pretty much how things went back in the day for certain actors. I mean, you had Clint Eastwood, you had Henry Fonda. Yes. Went over and did a few. Yeah, it's terrible. We hit the record button and we forget everything. There's a funny story about this, about Terence Hill in general. And it has a video game reference. And I remember a few years back, you found a side-scroller on the PlayStation download site, right?
Yes.
It was called Slappin' Beans. And you were like, hey, you got to download this thing. We can play it next time we hang out. I was like, okay, so I download it, and what was the game?
It had like every awesome genre put all into one game. It had side-scrolling element, it had the beat 'em up element, it had racing. I think it even had shooting too in one level. It just had every single thing that you remember from back in the day of the arcades was all put into this one game, and it was ridiculous.
Yeah, it was super fun. But I started noticing something odd with the cutscenes, and I was like, hey, wait, there's more to this.
Yeah.
I did a little research and found out it was Slappin' Beans is based off of Terence Hill and Bud Spencer. And they were like a comedy duo in Italy there for a long time, and they did a bunch of movies together. And it's obvious from this movie that Bud Spencer should have been the Ernest Borgnine character in this film. But I think they got Ernest Borgnine to make it more appealing to the American audience.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They were like the cool version of Laurel and Hardy.
Yeah, this would have definitely been like one of those kind of buddy cop type of movies, because that's what, their duo was that sort of thing, Laurel and Hardy type of thing.
So I wasn't that familiar with the two. I do recognize the guys from when I was a kid coming up, and you'd see weird stuff and they'd be in it. But because of that video game, I looked up and found one on Amazon called Watch Out, We're Mad. And I talked you into watching it, didn't I?
Yes, yeah, we actually watched that one. It was a good movie.
Yeah, it was slapstick comedy, and it was just a whole bit over a stolen doom buggy.
Yeah.
Because I think the film came out in 1971, so it had like the standard doom buggy that you would remember from when you were a kid. I think they ended it by wrecking a building with balloons and driving the doom buggy through it, right?
Yeah, I think so. It was crazy. The whole movie was just nonstop craziness. Sort of a live action cartoon type of thing.
I had some difficulty finding this film. I wanted to have a copy of it because, like I said, we're not sure this film actually existed until I found it. And I didn't find it under the name of Super Fuzz. I found it under the name of Super Snoopers.
Well, there you have it. That's probably why. Every time I had ever seen it, it was called Super Fuzz. That's the only name that I had ever known it under.
Yes, and apparently it had an Italian name on it. Poliziotto Superpu. Well, I'll spell it out. Poliziotto Superpiu. And I'm spelling that out, and I apologize if I mispronounce it wrong. I don't want to offend any Italians out there, but I'm not Italian. I've never spoken Italian, and I think that's the first Italian word I've ever tried. So please forgive me. But I did do a little research because that's the title that comes up on the screen when you start the film.
Yeah.
It translates into Super Duper Policeman.
It's a pretty good title for it,
I can understand why they would change it to Super Fuzz, bringing it here and stuff.
Well, that's true because, the slang in the early 80s for police was, fuzz was still kind of a known slang term for police.
Yes.
At the time.
Well, this did come out in 1980, so it's technically a 70s film. And it has definitely
70s, 80s, yeah. 70s, early 80s, yeah.
It definitely has a 70s feel to it. It's not a very high budget film, but it's about a cop that gets superpowers.
Yeah.
In the most comic book way possible.
So this was a superhero film before superhero films were popular. Way before.
Yes. Yeah. What did we have back in the day? We had 77 Superman, right? Or 78 Superman. And then we would have had the one Batman film from Adam West.
Yes.
I think for the official title ones, that was it. So this one was it's kind of a spoof movie.
Yeah.
Because he definitely gets his superpowers the same way the Hulk got his superpowers. It's an explosion and he gets caught in it. We start off in the film. And there's a news report going on, and they're talking about this missile testing that they're going to be doing. And then it pans over to the cops, and they're all standing around a radio trying to contact a new recruit where Ernest Borgnine, the sergeant, decided he was going to haze on his first day on the job and sends him out to the middle of the swamp to drop off a parking ticket to a guy, which happens to be in an indigenous tribe that was evacuated from the area where they're doing this nuclear testing at. And the whole spiel on it was it's red plutonium that they set off. Yes. So he gets caught in a bomb. He sees a big red light, and then he winds up with superpowers. And of course, throughout the movie, we're doing him exploring, finding out his powers and stuff like that.
Yeah, so he kind of finds out the first few of his powers, just kind of by accident, just kind of thinks about something and then he's able to do it. There's a kind of a vibe of Greatest American Hero in this movie as well. That's a show from back in the day. I think also in the late 70s, early 80s. I think that one came out in like 83. So this one would be would probably be an inspiration for it. I guess so then. Okay. Nice.
Because I think the powers and stuff that he got are pretty much the same, right?
Very, very similar. Yeah, kind of invulnerability, super strength, super speed.
Flight to an extent.
You don't really see him really fly in this so much as kind of jump far.
Oh, well, he does the whole floating thing in his
Well,
apartment.
he levitates, yeah. He levitates for sure. Mind reading, seeing through things.
Mind control, because he does that creepy freeze thing on his girlfriend when she's trying to walk out.
Which, again, in the Greatest American Hero, there's an episode where he gains mind control powers.
Oh, that's right. It gives him headaches, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they used it for one episode, but the headaches got too bad, so they didn't have to use it again.
Mm-hmm. So he did the same thing with his girlfriend. He was not exactly the same thing, but kind of a very similar type of thing where she was kind of not liking his newfound powers that much, and then he kind of uses his mind control to convince her otherwise, and she caught on to it and didn't like it.
Yeah, when he let her go, that she slapped him and walked out. Well, I guess we maybe jumped the gun on this. It didn't start off with him getting his superpowers. It started off with him on death row. Yes,
so this is kind of one of those movies where it starts at the end and then, kind of tells the whole story back throughout the movie. And then it catches up to the point where, he's at the end of the movie, he's caught up with the story. And
that we see things unfold. Yeah. There's a weird bit at the beginning. They've got a crazy old lady. They've got a news reporter outside the jail or the prison. And he's asking people what they think about it. And this woman is out there talking about how her dog is really upset about it, that he's actually stopped talking to her, but he doesn't like the death penalty. And you think, well, that's just kind of a throwaway thing.
Yeah.
But later on in the film, so he has 2 falls in this film, which gives him an idea that, he's got a problem. He's got a weakness.
Mm-hmm.
But he can't quite figure out what it is. So there's a guy that witnesses 2 falls, and the guy's kind of a confidence man. So the cops know who he is.
Mm-hmm.
So he goes to track him down, and he goes to his place. And there's these dogs in cages all over the place. And you come to find out that the mob is after the guy because he sold the mob boss a dog that he said that could talk. Because his bit is that he was an amateur magician.
He was a ventriloquist. That's what one of the guys that kind of informed him of where he was or whatever.
Yeah. So this guy sold a mob boss a dog that could talk, and then when he figured out that the dog couldn't actually talk...
So why would a mob boss need a talking dog? Is he going to try to use them to gain information on people or what?
You never get into it, but he was right upset that he didn't get the talking dog that he paid for. That was an interesting bit. And, if you weren't paying attention, because I didn't catch that until I was an adult, until I watched it here recently, that he obviously was selling dogs all over town as talking dogs to nice little old ladies. And that's where you got the woman at the beginning of the film.
It's a good racket, though.
Yes. He doesn't talk so much anymore. He's right upset about the whole thing.
It's so funny because, you just take it as some crazy woman who talks to her dog and thinks he talks back to her. Apparently, at one point, he did.
I have no doubt he probably talked her into hooking up with the old man.
Probably.
That's probably part of the bit too. This film, it's weird. It stars Ernest Borgnine as a supporting character, and as you all know, if you've been listening to us, we love our character actors, and Ernest Borgnine is one of the best character actors out there.
Absolutely. We
did a deal on the Black Hole. Back in this time period, he always played the naysayer in a group. And we were figuring it out. This is probably the reason why he looks so old for so long. Because he was probably under so much stress being this one type of character through his entire career. It probably pre-aged him.
I think that most people, at least maybe the directors, instead of seeing him as like a naysayer, they saw him as a more voice of reason type of like somebody who's, no, all this stuff, all this stuff going on is just crazy. There's no way.
Well, he always plays kind of a jerk.
Yeah, in a way.
You could always see his point of view. I mean, he was always making some sort of sense.
Yeah.
But you didn't want to agree with him because he was kind of a jerk, and you wanted the more heroic option. And he was the one that gave the more practical option on stuff. In the most asinine way possible. It's not too different in this film. He is agitated through the entire film.
Oh, he is on edge the whole time.
He doesn't believe his partner has superpowers. Well, first off, he thought he had him killed, and he was busted down to beat cop where he was directing traffic.
And then Dave, he's his name in this movie, he rides up on his bike and sees Ernest Borgnine directing traffic and waves at him, and he's a kind of total disbelief because at that point everyone thought he was dead.
He spends the entire film thinking that his buddy is playing, his subordinate is playing practical jokes on him. They wind up to being partners throughout the rest of the film. You have some scenes where he is not totally losing it. They bring in a woman, an actress, and he used to be a stuntman back in the day. And he was totally infatuated with this woman. Her name was Rosie LaBouche, and she was actually involved with the mob, which are the villains of the film.
Yes.
He doesn't know that, but whenever she's around and everything like that, he is all lovey-dovey and attentive, and he's completely oblivious to everything around him. Dave uses him as a way to get back to talk to the head villain, the head mobster. He wants him to go up and start dancing with Rosie LaBouche, and he's too shy to do so. So he uses his Jedi mind trick on him and forces him out there, which what he does is he releases his inhibitions.
Yes.
And allows him to do it.
Allows him to be able to dance like Fred Astaire.
Yes. So when he undid his inhibitions, it actually worked against him because he wound up spilling the beans.
Yeah, this was when he finally actually started believing in the whole superpower thing.
Yeah. So
and then, as soon as he starts believing it, he just spills everything about.
Yeah, over to his crush, Rosie LaBouche.
Yeah.
So she winds up telling the villains about it, and that's what they set him up.
So the thing is, he was granted his powers by red plutonium, so the color red, every time he sees it, he loses his powers. Apparently, his whole weakness is psychological, because it's pretty clear that he only loses his powers when he actually sees red. Something could be red in the vicinity, but it doesn't affect him until he actually sees it.
Yeah, and you've got red in some scenes where he's doing super things.
Yes.
And it doesn't have any effect on it. But this is low budget, and we're doing practical effects. This is nothing but practical effects.
Oh, yeah. Even the controls the plane at the end.
Oh, yeah.
That's...
They got a mannequin.
Totally just a mannequin, or was there a stuntman on there at some point?
I think it was just a mannequin.
Okay. They used to do actual stuntman on the plane in some of these old movies.
Well, I do know it was a mannequin when at the very end of the film where they had the giant floating bubble gum.
Oh, yeah.
And Ernest Borgnine, he's totally lost his head, and he's all like, okay, well, catch me, because he's up in the air, and he winds up jumping off, and it's obviously a mannequin falling down to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
But still a better effect than RoboCop at the end with the guy with the giant arms.
Still better than CGI.
Yeah, so we've got like super speed where they speed up the film.
Yes.
They've got bits where he's falling out of stuff and landing. They've got some obvious wire bits on there. I got this thing in Blu-ray because it was the only way I could get a copy of it. And with everything in high definition, you can see all the wires all over the place.
Yeah.
I mean, if you had, a little bit of like regular television and stuff like that where the quality wasn't all that great.
It's just surprising you were able to get a copy at all instead of just, everything on the internet just telling you, you're crazy. Shut up.
It was 2 years. I looked for this thing for like 2 years. So
this movie doesn't exist. You're imagining things. There was a time when this movie was you could not see this movie on TV. It was on all the time,
and then it just went away.
Yeah, and then it just disappeared completely. It's crazy. I bet Ernest Borgnine a few years back when he was still alive probably would have been like, "What are you talking about?"
Oh yeah, like the Sinbad and the Shazam movie.
Yeah,
I don't remember that film, so.
But he did so many films also that I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't remember some of them.
Oh, Sinbad? Yeah, he was.
Well, no, Ernest Borgnine. But yeah, Sinbad. He had a pretty long career himself, so
he probably would have done a bunch of low budget stuff just to keep fed.
Yeah, just to keep the money coming in. So yeah,
Ernest Borgnine was probably the same way. So
yeah,
because he was a working actor. I don't think he ever had He may have had one or two starring roles, and those would have been really low-budget things. I think Marty was the one that we was most popular for.
Yeah.
But we love our Ernest Borgnine. Terence Hill did really super in this. He had a love interest, and I didn't get her information. I looked her up. She only had a few parts here and there. She was a very beautiful woman.
Mm-hmm.
I like the bit they did at the end of the film. She was not
Well,
going to...
there were two really good bits at the end of the film. But go ahead.
Well, the one I like is that they wind up getting married at the end of the film, and she doesn't want him to control her with this power because that really creeped her out. Understandably so.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
That was like the creepiest thing that he did the entire film.
Yeah, it was something that probably would get someone arrested.
It definitely wouldn't fly in a film today. She winds up marrying him because she does love him. She goes up to the altar and everything like that. She's got this big elaborate dress on, and he pulls back the veil to give her the kiss at the end, and she's dyed her hair red.
Yeah.
So, he's got no power over her, which I thought was a fantastic ending because the movie ends right there.
Yeah. A funny ending. Really good. Perfect way to end the movie. And actually, it's kind of sad because if this movie had been more successful, there probably would have been at least one sequel. It was a pretty good movie. As low budget as it was and as kind of cheesy as it was.
They paid for one song. They had one song on this, and it was kind of a disco riff.
Yeah.
With disco violins and stuff like that. So whenever they had transition changes or anything like that in the film and they needed music to fill it up, they would put the same song in there over and over and over again on the film. And it's got a hook on it. It's like, he's a super.
Yeah. Good film. But the other bit at the end of the movie was a classic bit. He catches Ernest Borgnine jumping off of the giant bubblegum balloon that he made. They crash through the ground and everyone thinks that they're dead. And then they get a phone call. And they're on the other side of the world in China. Which is a classic bit.
Oh yeah, you're always gonna dig a hole to China.
Yeah,
and they wound up falling through. There was no reason for that to be in there, other than the comedic effect.
Exactly.
What I want to know is how long in Florida, because this takes place in Miami, in 1980. How long does it take to have a trial, get convicted, and then have 4 attempts to have you
apparently
executed?
A few hours. At the same time, this is a superior officer. He's a cop. They thought that he killed him. So,
well, he goes missing, and what the deal is? This is all about counterfeit money, and that's another thing I need to talk about here. But we'll get into this. He
So they find out where the money's being counterfeited at. And it's off in the middle of the ocean in some big tanker ship, and down in a kind of a secret compartment down there, they're actually churning out these counterfeit bills. So Ernest Borgnine's character, Sergeant Dunlop, he's the one that goes down onto the ship and finds the room where it's at. And Terence Hill, Dave Speed, he tells him he's going to be right back with backup. So that's when they capture Willie Dunlop and put him in a freezer.
And then sink the ship.
Yeah.
So he's stuck in the freezer and he freezes in there. And then we have this big, long, what you would assume would be a big, long trial, plus the time period it takes for you to get convicted and set up for an execution. And then he had 4 executions that failed.
Yeah. So 4 that failed, and then a 5th one that they're attempting. And apparently this all happens. It's supposed, I guess it's supposed to happen over a time period of, several days or months. But at the same time, after the last attempt, he escapes, makes his way out to the middle of the ocean where the ship was.
Talks to fish while he's out there.
Yeah. Finds the ship still sinking with Ernest Borgnine in it, or
frozen solid.
Yeah, frozen inside the freezer. And then he gets him out of there and blows up his little bubblegum ball into a giant balloon.
Which is obviously a giant balloon by the time they're on it. It's a funny bit. They got this thing flying around and they've got mannequins strapped to it.
Yeah.
the bit it's funny.
It is funny. And Sergeant Dunlop, after he wakes up, he's kind of like, this smells like bubble gum, and he actually licks the balloon. He's like, it tastes like bubble gum too.
I've never been on top of something and smelled it and it's like, hey, this smells like something, and then licked it. That just Sounds like the wrongest thing you could possibly do, but
Yeah,
there you have
definitely.
it.
Really, it was a funny movie. I enjoyed it. I watched it several times as a kid.
Well, the stick on this thing is that they were counterfeiting $1 bills.
Yeah, $1 bills.
Which is ridiculous.
There's no way that was cost effective.
Absolutely not. It shouldn't have been cost effective at all. And I know that for a fact because my father was not a counterfeiter. He was a printing press repairman. Mm-hmm. When I was growing up, I'd help him out with his job and everything, not repairing the printing presses, but we'd move stuff around and we'd move print shops and stuff. And you get to know people. And I got to meet quite a few counterfeiters, reformed. Mm-hmm. And I remember this film when I was talking to him. It was like, well, did you guys ever counterfeit $1 bills? And they were like, no, absolutely not. There is no way. What you would do is you would wash the ink and stuff off the paper that we used to paper on the $1 bill. But you would print something larger on it, like a $50 or $100 bill. Mm-hmm. I knew one guy that was reformed, but he had one $20 bill that was his Mona Lisa. And he kept that thing on him all the time. And he would bring it out and he'd show you his masterpiece. Mm-hmm. Never spent it, of course.
Oh, yeah.
But it's weird the amount of criminals that you run into in your lifetime. And unless you talk to them, you have no idea what they were in for.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I've known quite a few convicts in my life.
Well, there's several reasons why you wouldn't counterfeit on one. Oh, two of them are just the fact that, yeah, obviously you wouldn't want to counterfeit something that's that low of a denomination.
It would cost more money to print the one.
It would cost you more. It would cost you more in time and materials to do it. And then not only that, but you're not going to want to counterfeit something that everyone is used to seeing. You want something that's a higher denomination that people just they don't see as commonly on a day-to-day basis.
Well, I got a piece of life advice from one of these gentlemen. All right, so they tried to explain to me the insanity of the United States government.
Oh, but it makes perfect sense, though.
The way it was put to me is that it doesn't benefit anybody to go against the federal government because you can print one $20 bill and pass it off, and they will spend $300,000 to catch you.
Absolutely. They will.
Ladies and gentlemen, I guess that's going to be the
yeah, that's our
public service announcement.
No matter how small or petty of a crime you think that you might be committing, they will spend several thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars to put an end to it if they see fit. Yes.
Thank you very much for tuning in. This is What We Saw on Stolen Cable. Am I the only person that remembers Super Fuzz? I'm your host, Uncle Patches. I'm here with
Sinister Cinema.
Thank you very much for listening in, and we'll talk to you later.
All right.